project for the weekend is to change out this stairway. I'm not sure how old it is. It's got 3 stringer boards. They're all in pretty poor condition. He used 3/8 carriage bolts here. They're undersized, you can see they're not doing so well. This looks like it was added on later. The screws that he screwed into the studs on the exterior wall, pretty undersized. It doesn't have to be pressure treated, but it wasn't pressure treated. And so I took the railing off. The plan is to pull the treads up, free up this outside stringer. It's nailed into the joist hanger there. I'll cut that with the Sawzall and take it down and use it to cut a pattern. Use it as a pattern rather for the new stringers. Hoping to knock this out in one weekend because it really can't be done. I have to do it. I can't leave it. I can't leave the stairs incomplete. Main reason is when I take the stairs down, my wife will be trapped up there with no way to get down unless she wants to take the ladder. So anyway, see how it goes. This is the pressure treated lumber 2x12s. Shorter ones are 16s, and they're going to be used for the carport over there to protect the trailer, and then the longer ones are actually for the stringers that I'm making. Oh man. Yeah, see, just to illustrate how bad the stringers are, I took off the screws for the outside stringer, and the screws in the middle stringer board just popped right up. So no question this needs to be replaced. Stripped. Stripped. These stringers really need to come out. They're unsafe. You look at them and you're sometimes not sure, but as I disassemble it now, there's no question they needed to come out. Can't have unsafe stairs. Moving the last stringer is still hung up at the top, and part of it was there was another nail up here that I didn't see, so I had to take the Sawzall to it, and then there was also another screw up on the plank, so I removed those and it came out pretty good. So hopefully the other ones come just as well. Trick will be fastening the new stringers. I'm not so sure about this hanger, so I'm gonna have to do some surgery here and see if I can reuse it, or might have to replace it. Here we are. Normally I would have started this on a Friday, but we got up here on a Saturday. Now I'm trying to finish everything on a Saturday and a Sunday, which is very less than ideal. Rushing something like this, fair amount of safety concerns on a job like this, and so I'm not sure. I've already figured out the plan B is to put a delineator down there and caution tape up to the top so that you can actually walk up and down the stairs, but you just have to do it on the side, the half closest to the house here. And that would be more or less safe, but not ideal. One of the funny things is there's a lot of oak trees around here, as they are in most of California. You see the acorns here, and you can see that there's it's a granary here for the acorn woodpeckers, which is a predominant species around here. There are northern flickers or yellow-shafted flickers, and I think there's a couple other type, but the predominant woodpecker around here is the acorn woodpecker. They're pretty obnoxious. They're the ones that were the model for Woody the Woodpecker, and they're real loud and noisy. There's not many around right now, but we get them here, and they will actually fly into the garage and hide acorns in the garage. They hide acorns everywhere. They're obsessive compulsive, and they're better at putting them away than they are at recovering them. Yeah, but you know, if you leave your garage open, you'll open a bag or a box, or they'll just stick acorns anywhere. They're just kind of a nuts bird, pardon the pun. Our margin of safety right now, it's very thin, pretty flimsy. Got the concrete umbrella holder there, and a piece of 1.25 PVC and some caution tape. And got it tied up off at the top, and that basically delineates the safe zone, which is the middle stringer to the wall, from the very, very highly unsafe zone, middle stringer to the left side, outside edge, which is unsupported. So we're gonna walk this as little as possible. It's just a reminder, visual reminder, do not step over there.
If I were a carpenter and you were a lady, would you marry me anyway? Would you have my baby?
If the stringers are all cut, and pretty happy with them. I might rent a belt sander actually. It's probably not worth it, but I was thinking of just evening out the treads anyway. I'm trying to make this idiot proof in case some fool comes by and tries climbing up the stairs. There's foolish people everywhere you go. And so, yeah, it's 5:15, and pretty happy with the progress. I doubt we'll knock it out tomorrow, but holding out hope, and we'll see what happens. Good morning. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning. It's Sunday morning. I'm trying not to make too much noise down here because my wife is still just getting into the routine. Don't want to disturb the neighbors. Got some new neighbors across the way there. And they had a party last night we were invited to, but couldn't make it. Too much going on over here. But at any rate, yeah, day 2 of the build. It's yesterday we started around noon. It was sunny. Today, this morning, it's cold and overcast. You can see it's a ski cap day, not a baseball cap day. And I have to go through basically every step of the construction because I'm going to run into town and get whatever hardware and materials I need. So hopefully I can finish this up today. But if it doesn't get finished up today, then next weekend for sure we'll knock it out. So we'll just do the best we can, see what happens. Stairs, it holds the bottom of the stringers in place to the concrete. I'm not really familiar with this type of hardware. I'm not sure what that is. So I'm gonna have to back it out of there and see what it is. It could be a drop-in anchor with a bolt, but that size is kind of uncommon. Anyway, we'll find out. That needs to be replaced with a new piece of pressure-treated 2x4, which I have. So, but yeah, that's one thing that needs to be figured out. have done and didn't do is I should have done this at the beginning, clamp these 2x12s together and cut them all at once. I actually ended up cutting them separately and then realized the error of my ways, but it turned out pretty good. And I did have to make some corrections. They were pretty close in some cases. I had to go over and even out. I'm mostly concerned with the treads and not the riser, so that the planks, which make up the actual stairs, you know, will be even level. So I corrected about 4 of the treads and should be good to go. So yeah, next time I do stringers, I'll cut them all together, but it turned out pretty good. These are the cutoffs. Not sure what I'm going to do with them. I'm not going to throw them out. They're almost all virtually the same size, so they can be used for something. So maybe wheel chocks or something to keep stuff from rolling away. And there'll be other uses, so I'll hold on to those. There's plenty of room to store crap here. So poor condition the stairs were in. When they're covered with the treads, it conceals a lot of the condition, but you know, as you walk up and down it, you start getting some feedback structurally, and it got to a point where it was too obvious to ignore. As we mentioned, they did not use pressure treated before, so that's one of the problems. And so there's a lot of rot and breakage. Over here against the wall, this stringer was particularly bad, and you can see it's because moisture was chronically trapped between the exterior wall and the stringer itself. So yeah, so I'm using pressure treated, and there's a few other things I will do as I construct this to make it even more impervious. So okay, demo's almost done. That's good. Here's the stringer that was closest to the house. This is the surface of that stringer that was actually butted up against the exterior wall. And as the old proverb goes, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a... No, wait, that's not it. It's a picture's worth 1,000 words. That's the one. So you can see termite, rot. I mean, that's what you got there. Good. So the people who did this before, they used really undersized screws. I don't know if you can see it, but this is the size screw they used to attach the stringer to the wall. This is what we're using now. It has actually a washer head to distribute the load, but I'm throwing washers on here to distribute the load a little bit more, so the stringer board doesn't get concave over time. Also, they only used 1 screw per stud, and I don't know if you can see, there's one here because of the thinness of the material, but anywhere I can put 2 screws per stud, I am, and it's going to be real strong. The other thing is, I am going to put caulking here, and this is tight. I mean, there's no space between these materials, but I'm going to put caulking here so moisture cannot come down and infiltrate and rot out this board. Now, I'm not going to caulk the underneath because that's where I'm going to allow air exchange and drying to occur on the bottom side of the stringer board. But where the rain's coming from and moisture in the form of dew and things like that, anything on the top, it'll be impervious. The string will be impervious. So that's the plan. What it looks like with the caulking. So it's been copper coated, so there's a zinc treatment on these cut ends here. So that wood is impervious. The silicone is going to create an impervious layer closing up the grain. So moisture will not really be able to get in there, nor will it be able to get in between the house and the stringer. The zinc coating is kind of wet, but it's going to diffuse into the wood. So I'm not worried about that. And yeah, I think this is a good solution here. You get a better idea of how it's anchored to the wall. So it's going to be good and strong. Well, good morning. It's day 3 of the build, and broke some of the cardinal rules about getting jobs done. One of the cardinal rules is ideally you don't want to be in a hurry. But we're only here on the weekends, and we only have a few months to get a lot of work done. Full disclosure, this property is used as a vacation rental. So any projects have to be done with that in mind, trying to get in and out, get it done before the next renters come in. So yeah, we were in a rush. That was 2 weekends ago that I was last working on this project. Last weekend, had a friend and his son come up and spend some time up here, and we enjoyed ourselves. Had a really great time, but did not get anything done. So this is 2 weeks after the second day of the build, so this is day 3 of the build. And because I rushed, I made a few very basic errors. One of which is that the concrete pad that the 3 stringers rest on are sloped for drainage, which means that the stringer board that was closest to the house, attached to the house actually, is on higher elevation than the outermost stringer. And it's about 5/8 of an inch difference, which is fine, because I can basically lift it up at the pad end, shim it up using 5/8 plywood, which I will waterproof, and then at the joist hanger and the top end, I will reattach it there, because there is some latitude for elevation in the joist hanger. So there's some nails I got to pull, a big screw that's holding the joist hangers in place. I have to remove the treads that I had put down, and I have to reposition the stringers. And then after that, it should be pretty easy. So hopefully we can get it knocked out today. Let's see what happens. Kind of like a large wood screw. I still don't know what is down in the hole. Wanted to revisit the cleat at the bottom. Yeah, I had forgotten about this method of attachment. Those are actually lead mollies. And so you can use like a big wood screw or a carriage bolt and screw it into the lead anchor, and that's what they used. I did drill pilot holes for these, but I kept them really tight so that water would not want to go down through there. Do extensively throughout the rebuild here is I'm going to use clear silicone caulk. I'm going to put it in that molly. So here's the finished product. slash project, the stairs. We talked about it being at a level because the concrete pad slopes in that direction to drain water away from the slab. And so this was the solution to that. It's waterproofed piece of plywood, shimmed up above the cleat. And that worked here. I reattached the joist hangers up at the top, so it's more or less level. I didn't take video of me screwing the screws in. These treads are going, and you can see it's almost like I'm playing Battleship here, but I laid out the location of the stringers so that I could hit them dead center. And I actually did pre-drill them because I did not want to cause them to split. We are going to replace these treads next winter, but that's going to be part of when we replace the entire deck up top, which is aged and weathered and starting to become very unattractive. But this needed to be knocked out real quickly, and so that's what we did. So here's a little side view. You can see the treads now look a little antiquated next to the new pressure treated stringer. Up here, a little bit of a boo-boo. When you do things by yourself, sometimes things go wrong. I was hoping for some help, but I didn't receive it, and so I was putting the stringer into place, and I just had it sitting up there, a dry fit without any fasteners, and then it fell down and it cracked part of the stringer. So I did a sandwich reinforcement, you can see right here, and that's what it's going to be. So, and you can see the underside of these a little bit worn. You know, they're made out of wood pulp and recycled plastic bags, so this stuff doesn't last forever, but pretty good material. I believe they will recycle it if I bring it to the right place. So we'll replace it with a similar material. But yeah, that's the end of that. Next year, when we replace the treads and the decking up top, we're also going to do the railing and bring that into a newer material. Here's the shade structure that we built. Pretty happy with that. Works real well. You might not be able to tell, but it does drain the water off. The right side of that little shed attachment is pitched towards the gutters. Works really well. Gonna build another wing off this side. And so, anyway, yeah, so it worked out pretty well. It wasn't perfect, but it's done. It's better. It's off the list. And I'm happy to put this project behind us and move on to the next thing.